Okay, everyone. We shall continue with our workshop. With the next session is resume. Okay, resume writing. So we'll continue right away. We don't want to waste any more time. Okay, so please open up your video so the trainer so that the coach can see your face, and please mute the audio throughout the session. Okay, thank you. So, coach, I pass the baton to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Encik Kas. And I hope you all don't mind that while I'm talking, I'm also enjoying my sip of coffee. That is just to make sure that the energy level is still high. Huh? Okay, so we have already learned just now on how to write our cover letter. And And basically, you've got to know that when you want to write your cover letter, the approach is the same as when you're writing formal letters. So the language, we must be mindful with our language. The style, it must not be the same as the style of writing that we are writing our WhatsApp, or when we are writing comments on someone's Twitter or on someone's Facebook or Instagram account. It's just different. So you've got to already start picturing yourself to be a professional. So when you write, you need to be professional. So now I want to spend the next 1.5 hours that we have for me to talk to you about resumes. And this is a bane. A bane means this is sesuatu yang, menyengsarakan orang lah. Bila you nak prepare your resume, sengsara. I wonder, Encik Kas, when was the last time you updated your resume? Okay, so many many of us, many of us, we write our resume, we prepare our resume to apply for our first job, right? And then after that, once we get our first job, and especially when the job promises potential for us to retire in the job, then we don't see any need for us to prepare a resume, right? So in many organizations that I conduct my resume workshop for, I see that a lot of people, they have not written their resume. Maybe some of them, have not written their resume up to 10, 15 years. So recently we conducted a training for a group of company who is closing down many of their subsidiaries. I know it's sad because of the pandemic, because of the MCO. A lot of businesses cannot operate. So this one particular big conglomerate, they are of no exception. So they have to close down their subsidiaries, and this calls for the people working in the organization to apply for other jobs. So when coach checked with the people who are in my workshops, when was the last time they prepared their resumes? And it was not surprised. Yeah, those of you who have your sound on, please mute yourself. Um, so it was not a surprise to coach that many of them have not updated their resume for 10 to 15 years. Now here's the thing, everyone. Remember what coach says now, yeah? When you get a job, even though you're happy with the job, even though you're happy with the company that you're working with, even though you are not planning to apply for another job, make sure you update your resume on a yearly basis. Make sure you do that, because you never know. Suddenly, an opportunity crops up, and somebody says to you, I've got an opportunity for a position in somewhere, and it's something that is really exciting. And imagine if you haven't prepared your resume yet. And you probably will take about a week for you to update your resume. And then in the meantime, someone else has submitted his or her resume, and there goes a chance for you. right? So always remember when we talk about resume, we have got to update our resume on a yearly basis, even though we are not planning to resign from our current job, even though we are not planning to apply for another job. Okay, so what do we talk about when we talk about resume? And number one is you've got to understand the purpose and importance of resume. Why is it that we need to write a resume? Now, there are some organizations that, they don't really have that luxury for them to call you for an interview. And therefore, they will call you to send your resume. And based on your resume alone, they decide whether or not they want to employ you. And so a resume is a self-advertisement. I said earlier in the earlier session, you've got to imagine that you are the product and you want to sell your product to the prospective buyers. And the prospective buyers are your prospective employers. So they look at your resume and they read it as if they're reading a brochure of a product. So you got to make your resume attractive. You got to make sure that whatever information that you offer in your resume is not boring, it's not dry. They don't want to read an essay assignment that you are submitting for your class. They want to see you talking all, about your achievements, the great things that you have. So your resume is the first window to your opportunity to work in that company. Because you may not be called for an interview, but your resume must impress your potential employers. And your resume contains all of your qualifications, skills, abilities, and whatever accomplishments that you have made in your student life as well as in your working life. The only thing that coach wants to remind you is this, yeah. Now you do not have that work experience, and because you do not have that work experience, then you include lah your accomplishments when you are at poly. If you were the YDP or the MPP, or if you were the secretary for the theater club, or if you were the exco member of certain things, include lah. But once you have already got an employment, the list of those things that you do at university must slowly exit. Why? Because you need to learn how to move on. There are some people who apply for jobs and they have been in a job for 3 to 5 years, and they still include the activities, co-curricular activities or extracurricular activities that they do when they were at university. So my message to them is move on. You are no longer at the university. You are now in the real working life. And the resume is okay. I can hear the sound of a, yeah. Can that Pontiana please mute yourself? I hear the woo sound, which in my team's effort to mute the sound of the Pontiana, I also got muted, so I apologize. All right, so just practice your vocal stretching in another time. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so having a resume is your first point of interaction between your prospective employer. I'll just leave it at this screen. Is that okay with all of you? Is that okay if I leave it like this? The slides, yeah. Okay, thank you. I see Nurul Najwa and Nurul Nakia nodding their heads. Thank you very much, guys. Okay, so having a resume is the first point of interaction between your employer and you, because they don't have that opportunity to see you yet, so they will see you from your resume, and it is your first ticket into the job of your choice. But the only thing, guys, that you need to remember is this, yeah. Look at what coach is showing here. Resumes are scanned, not read. Okay, remember that, huh? Resumes are scanned, not read, because the average time that we HR people spend to read your resume is about 20 seconds. Right? It's about 20 seconds, guys. Imagine, let's say, for example, when you're applying for a job, for one position that is available in the company, currently, for example, during the MCO, PKP, and a lot of companies closing down, and a lot of graduates are still unemployed, how many people do you think are scrambling for the same position? Just to give you a perspective, LHDN, LHDN had 33 vacancies, right, for a position. And the number of people applying for that position was 6,000. 6,000, guys. And then Bank Simpanan Nasional had just one vacancy for a position. And the number of people applying for that position was 13,000. 13,000. So the number of people applying for that position is 13,000. Sorry. Okay. Oh, some of you, my team said some of you did not see my slide. Okay, so I'm just going to use my slide. So one position in Bank Simpanan Nasional attracts 13,000 applications. How do you expect us, HR people, to vet through 13,000 applications? Of course, the deadline given to us by the top management is we must find a candidate as quickly as possible. And sometimes the deadline is just about 1 month from the time of opening of application until the time of interview, until the time of appointment is just 1 month. We don't have time for us to read all the 13,000 resumes. So, hmm? Okay, just hold on. My team has given me an indication that something is not working. I'll unshare and I'll reshare. Yeah? Just bear with me, everyone. So I'm just resharing. Okay, so we don't have time. We don't have time for us to read everything that is submitted. So what we do in HR is just we take a look at the resume. In about 5 to 10 seconds, we go, this is rejected, this is accept, go through, reject, go through, reject, go through. They think it sounded very nice, and because of that, they just copy pasted it, and there's no style there, as in personal style. It doesn't talk about the job that they're applying for. It just talks about someone else's job. So make sure that when you write your objective or summary, it is what you wish to achieve in the position. So in the boot camp that I'm conducting, there's one candidate that says, I strive to get a top management position in your organization. Right? I strive to get a top management position in your organization. Well, you just left university. And we can understand if you want to, in the long run, you want to eventually become the CEO. But if you write like that, when it is the first time you're applying for a job, it will not sink in well to the people who are reading your resume. Okay? So you got to also have your work experience, your education, and you got to list your relevant skills. and extracurricular activities, as well as the references. I'll talk about them one by one in the slides that will follow, right? So number one is in terms of the personal details. Of course, you have your name, you have the name of degree that you have. So what happens, guys, is this: when you have your resume, the photo that you have, okay, the photo is actually optional. However, having a photo in your resume will help us form an initial impression of you. In the boot camp that I'm conducting currently, there are people who don't put in the in the sorry, I get shouted at. Boleh dengar tak? So yes, boleh. So just mute yourselves, guys. And if you want to communicate, use the chat box. Okay. So in the boot camp that I'm doing currently, there were candidates, or there are candidates who have not put their photo in their resume. It's okay if you don't want to put, but I want to know the reason why. And a couple of them said, we don't put our photo because we don't like to see our face. Now, that's a statement. So I told them, if you don't like to see your face, throw away all the mirrors that you have at home. Think about it. If you don't like to see your face, can you expect others to like to see you? So you must have that love for yourself first. You must like to see your photo first. Then only you can get people to like to see your photo, right? So whether you put or you don't put is a personal choice. When you put, it has an advantage. And at the same time, if you want to put a photo, make sure it is a photo that flatter you. Gambar yang menaikkan saham kita lah. Don't have your name Perindu Sepi. And I had one name, email address, where the name is Encik Bear. Encik Bear. However, the applicant was a lady, but her email address is Encik Bear. I had an email address of applicant where the address is glass.sandals. No, glass.sandals. So immediately I know that this person thinks she's Cinderella. Okay? So imagine what I'm thinking. So I'm thinking, if I call this Cinderella and then let's say I offer a job, and for the whole time when she's in the office, she's Cinderella, what? So she will just be berteleku like this, and she will just be looking at all the men walking past, and probably she sees one of you, and then she goes, "Oh, my Prince Charming." And then maybe Encik Kas walks past, and then she goes, "Oh, my Mr. Right." And then maybe Coach Fairus walks past, and then she goes, "Oh my God." So, so your email address really gives an impression to people. And the worst email address that I've come across in a resume is an email address that reads cute_s. Okay, cute_s, ASS tau, cute_s. So do you think coach will be calling this person for interview? You're right, coach will. I will. But again, as I said, I will not call this person for the purpose of giving that person an opportunity to get a job, but I will call this person with the purpose of sending him back to school. Okay? So I will call for interview. I will call. I actually did. I called him for an interview, and he came to the interview room, and then, he sat down, and then I go, stand up. So he stood up. Then I said, twirl around. Twirl around. So he twirled. So berpusing lah. Dia pusing. So when he was showing his backside, I said, stop. You know, number one is to confirm lah, cute ke tak cute kan. Okay, then I asked him to sit down. Then I said, why did you write? No, there's no thing, no such thing as asking, okay, please tell me about yourself. No, 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 no. I don't want to waste my time. So straight away I asked him, kenapa you letak you punya email address cute_s? And then he went, actually ASS is my name. Yeah. So I can't remember what. So let's assume, it's Ahmad Shahril bin Suhaimi, for example. And then I sent him to school. Because there are so many ways for you to write your email address, and why did you choose cute_s? So that's something that you need to understand. Those of you, all of you here, make sure when you go home, you take a relook at your email addresses. Ensure that your name is somewhat in there. So maybe, for example, for coach, I can have my name as M Fairus 67, for example. That's fine. That's fine. Or, I can have my name as S Fairus. S stands for Shidi. S Fairus 4. And that's fine. But don't have your email address which is totally not you, because like HR people, they are human beings also. Wih, kau yang mai sini kau tengok ni resume ni, cute_s kau. And then they start lah dia punya tu kan. So you don't want you to be the subject of people talking about you for the wrong reason. Okay. And let's say you choose to write your objective or your summary. Then you got to make sure that you state your career goals, and you state your career goals clearly, so that we really, really know what you want to achieve. And also your career objective or your summary must enhance your resume, focus on your skills, and abilities. You write it in 2 or 3 sentences. Don't write the whole paragraph of it, right? And you need to tailor your resume to the job you're applying for. So that means for every job that you're applying for, you need to write a different objective or summary. And you need to convince your employers that you know what you want and that you are familiar with the industry. So this will call for you to do a little bit of research lah in your summary. Now, something that I want to share with you, ladies and gentlemen, is that, we HR, many of us do this, not all of us, but many of us. Your resume is in A4 size. So your resume is in A4 size, right? We, people in HR, many of us, what we usually do is we will fold it in half. Fold it in half. So when we fold it in half, what we want to make sure is that your resume, the top part of your resume, we have good enough information about you. So for example, that this is your resume. Don't read it lah. This one, okay. So you have your resume here. It's A4. So what we at HR will do is we will fold it into halves, and then the first half of your resume, we will see whether we have enough information about you or not. So for example, number one is we want to see, okay, who is this person? Where did he or she graduate from? Where is he or she from? And then we want to know also, what does he want? What does he want? And what does he want to yang datang dekat objective and summary. So kalau you punya objective or summary itu macam karangan aku sebatang pen, kan? So memanglah we will not be clear about what you want. And because of that, we cannot consider you. So you must be clear in terms of your objective and your summary. Short only. And then of course, you will have your qualification, right? So at least we will know lah Okey, Mamat ni dia ada diploma dalam benda ni. Okey, dia asal daripada Pahang. And okey, tengok dia punya academic record, not bad. Daripada mungkin, dia ada dua tau. Daripada segi your academic record dia lah. Satu ialah, wow, dia punya studies consistent, Daripada SPM, result dia nampak, okey, ada 2A, 3B dan sebagainya. And then dia punya diploma, dia dapat CGPA sekian-sekian. Wow, this guy is a consistent person. Itu nombor satu. Nombor dua, nombor dua is that mungkin your SPM ada BCD. BCD. Tapi you punya diploma CGPA 3.5. So we the HR goes, wow, look at this candidate. Earlier failures did not stop him or her from achieving excellence in later life. Nampak tak? So, as a HR kan, kita tengok you punya resume, we are reading into it. We say, this person has drive. Drive. Dan drive ni ialah iltizam, kesungguhan, keinginan yang amat kuat for this person to achieve greater success later. And of course, hopefully, kita tak nampak lah result yang SPM 11A+. Lepas tu diploma CGPA 2.3. Hopefully we don't see that lah. But in any case, CGPA 2.3 usually will not be considered for a job lah. Okay, so this is something yang we want to see from your resume. What do you have? Do you have what it takes for us to consider you to be one of the members of our team? So that's very, very important. All right. So the objective, the summary, remember, don't write aku sebatang pen essay. So this is what I'm showing you is an example of an objective statement. I am a motivated HR graduate with experience in customer service and recruitment. I have a passion for interaction with people and am keen on a role that allows me to interact with people. With my human resource knowledge, coupled with my communication skills, I hope to be given the opportunity to contribute to the growth of your organization. Okay, so this is an objective statement which is realistic. This is an objective statement that doesn't say, I want to be the CEO of your company. No. Right? This is not an objective statement yang ceritakan dia punya keupayaan yang tak masuk akal. He's focusing on two, as you see there. Number one is he's focusing on his technical knowledge, customer service and recruitment. And number two, focusing on his human skills, ability to interact with people, which is communication skills. And, also in terms of, his ability to work well in an organizational setting. So that's something that you have to take note of. And the other thing that you've got to have is work experience. By the way, guys, when you have work experience, if you don't, it's okay because you're fresh grads. But, as you move along, when you graduate and then you get a job, before you get a job, actually number two is your academic qualification or education. But once you have got a job, once you have built yourself in the career, then work experience comes first before your academic qualification. Remember So, bila you baru keluar daripada poli, memang you akan cerita you punya academic qualification dulu. Tapi nanti bila you dah bekerja, satu kerja, dua kerja, then you have to list down your work experience dulu. Alright? So it starts with the most recent and then you work backwards. Sebagai contohnya coach lah. Okay, coach lah katakanlah InsyaAllah tak berlaku. Hopefully tak berlaku because this is my own company. So katakanlah coach kena apply kerja kan. So the first one that I will write is Efficient Frontier Consulting Sdn Bhd, Director. So, year 2008 until present. Yang kedua, kat bawah dia, Coach will write CIMB Aviva. Sendirian Berhad or Berhad, CIMB Aviva Berhad. Then head of training, year 2007 until 2008. Then dekat bawah dia, then coach will write SMR HR consultancy, Sendirian Berhad. Role is training specialist. Year is 2007. And then I got Eon Bank Berhad, training manager, year 2000 until 2006. Now, remember that this is 2020, okay? This is 2020. So far, coach has given my experience way back until 2000. In actual fact, from, or rather before year 2000, I also worked in many other companies. An example, I worked in a healthcare company, IHM Sendirian Berhad, year 2005 until 2006. And before that, I also was working somewhere else, Adler HRD Sendirian Berhad, year 1993 until year 2000, for example. And before that, I was working with Arab Malaysian Eagles Sendirian Berhad, year 1992 until 1993. And before that, I was working in Great Eastern Life, 1991 until 1992. However, when I list down my work experience, I may choose to limit my experience only until year 2000. Okay? Why? I mean, who cares about what I did more than 25 years ago? Okay? People want to know about what I do now and what is relevant to the job that I'm applying for. Okay? Then you need to filter short part-time jobs and only include it if it is relevant to the position applied for. I see people who are working during semester breaks. Even my daughter, for example, during a semester break, she works at Texas Chicken. Not long, 3 months, as cashier. And then she also worked at Tesco hypermarket. Not long, about 4 months. Now, when she applies for a job, it's good to include it lah. Because at least your prospective employer will know that you have made the initiative to experience real working life. Many applicants, they include their internship. You can, but internship is, for us prospective employers, we look at it as a given. You know, a given tu maksudnya apa tau? Memanglah semua budak kena buat intern. Dia macam tu. Okay, so the value tak banyak sangat lah kalau you letak you punya internship. Tapi kalau you letak you pernah bekerja, betul-betul punya kerja kan, we will actually give good attention to that. Alright, and then for each work experience, list in bullet points key responsibilities. Okay, one is key responsibilities and the other one is achievements. The only thing is, when you write your key responsibilities, tak perlulah you tulis memfotostatekan dokumen. Tak perlu. Tak perlulah you tulis or any other task as given by superior. Tu tak perlu. Focus on real responsibility. For example, I'll give you examples for those of you who are writing notes, then you can take note lah. For example, prepare monthly reports. That's a real job. For example, coordinate meetings within departments. That's a real job. For example, set up training and meeting rooms for any events. That's a real job. Kalau you kerja dekat 7-Eleven sebagai contohnya, okay, supervise stock takes. That's a real job. Ataupun you go manage transactions and purchases. That's a real job. Ataupun kalau you kerja dekat workshop, right? So mungkin you kata conduct repair work on vehicles. Itu a real job. Ataupun kalau you kerja dekat restaurant, instead of kata take order, that one sounds so low kan? So mungkin you nak tulis handle customer enquiries and orders. That's how you write. I hope I've given you enough examples. And in any case, this session is recorded. And, maybe Encik Kas or our other lecturer friends can share the recording later. And so that you can capture what examples I've given. Something that we don't, as HR, we don't wish to see is for you to not write responsibilities at all. Ada yang hantar resume yang dia just tulis tajuk kerja dia je. Dia tak tulis pun apa yang dia buat dekat tempat kerja tu. And we don't wish to see that. Also, if you have worked in a place for some time, a few months or even up to a year, we don't wish to see you writing only 1 or 2 bullets. At least 3 lah. At least 3 bullets of what you do. Think about it. You will be able to find, things that you do. Okay. So that's in terms of your responsibilities. Again, remember, photostating document, helping people to buy things. Those are don't write it lah, because those don't carry any value. Okay. Now, here's another thing. In your resume, you must write your achievement. Okay. For example, coach bagi contoh achievement. Tadi contohnya handle customers kan dekat restoran. Handle customers. Apa contoh achievement? Contohnya, I was awarded as the best employee of the month for 3 months in a row. Example lah. Or I managed to ensure we had 0 customer complaint. That's contoh. Or I received commendation letters from customers. That's an example. Kalau katakan your job is I manage cash transactions and purchases, right? So, for example, your achievement is we experienced 0 discrepancy while I was there. Now, 0 discrepancy maksudnya tak pernah ada short. Cash tak pernah ada short, tak pernah ada terlebih when you are handling the cash. Ataupun you kata, our outlet was given the best service award by the headquarters. Kalau you kata prepare report, then the achievement could be I prepared report with 100% accuracy. Ataupun you can write your achievement as I managed to submit all reports 100% on time. Right? So that is your achievement lah when you are in the job. So kalau coach, for example, for coach, my key responsibility is conduct training programs. Right? So what are my achievements? Maybe one of my achievements is managed to receive an average rating of 4.5 out of 5 in all my training programs. So that's my achievement. Or I can also say conducted 15 online training sessions during the PKP period as an achievement, because Many trainers during PKP business terus ke laut. But if coach manages to conduct 15 training sessions during the PKP period, that is an achievement that I can be proud of. Or, excuse me, or I can also write, successfully brought in 20 new clients in the year 2020. Okay? Or very simple, coach can write, conducted an online session using the Microsoft Office team platform for 400 Politeknik students. You all letter, kan? So that's something that I should be proud of, because I'm able to conduct an online session for 400 students. Wow. So, bila you nak tulis you punya achievements, you don't have to look for big things, you know. But whatever it is, your achievements must be relevant to the job lah. You tak perlulah kata your achievement is I managed to apa make dalgona coffee during the PKP. Itu mengarut lah kan. Ada, jumpa, bukan tak ada. Okay? So focus on things that are related to your experience, your qualification, and then the job that you're applying for. And this is another thing. This is English lah. Encik Kas and the other lecturers maybe can help you later. With your current job, you use present tense. That means you can say conduct training, prepare report, write report, handle customers, manage cash, coordinate events. Jangan letak ing. Jangan letak conducting training for organizations, managing cash transactions and purchases, coordinating events. Jangan letak ing. Just present tense, simple present tense for current job. Okay? So that you must remember, because I keep repeating this because you know why? When I conduct my resume writing workshops with people, there are many of them yang dah bekerja pun still buat benda yang sama. So I don't want you to do that. For us as Politeknik Muadzam Shah and Sultanah Bahia students, we must take pride that we are not like them. Okay? Budak you pun buat salah macam ni pada, okay? So we Polytechnic students, we are better than the you students. Please do that. Okay. And for previous job experiences, use past tense. And previous job could mean like you only did the job last month and then now you're in the new job. Tak apalah, past tense. Handled customers, managed cash transactions and purchases, coordinated events, wrote reports, prepared reports. So previous work experience, past tense. And use parallel structure when listing responsibilities and achievement. Okay, ini kasyaf dia tinggi sikit lah. Dia punya makam dia tinggi sikit. Use parallel structure when listing responsibilities and achievement. For example lah, alright. Conduct training and organize events. Jangan guna conduct training and also to organize event. Dia dah tak parallel. So bunyi dia dah tak selari dah. Okay. So this one need practice. I'll give you some examples here. So when you want to write your work experience, you can use these action verbs. For example handled, managed, coordinated, executed, organized. Kalau you nak screen cap benda ni, sila screen cap. Sebab kalau you nak salin ni, dia mungkin lama sikit lah. Okay. So, a lot of things that you can actually write as your action verbs in your work experience. Okay. In your work experience. So, sorry, I'm telling my teammate that I'm feeling warm, so to switch on the aircon. Sorry about that. Okay. So So these are some of the examples of action verbs. So this is what happens when you do online session. That sometimes anak lalu minta susu, sometimes wife tanya, aneh jual ikan dah sampai mana duit. So in this case for me, I'm feeling warm and I ask my team to switch on the aircon. I hope you don't mind. Yeah. So anyway, so these are some of the action verbs that you can use lah. So I hope you have it. Never mind whether you take photo ke apa ke, it doesn't matter. All right. Now, next is your education. So when you want to write your education, you want to start with the most recent qualification, followed by diploma, matriculation, STPM, and SPM. You may start with your diploma, you may start with your certificate. That's no problem. Tapi you start with the highest, and then you go lower. Tak perlu letak PT3. Okay? Encik Kas, tak perlu letak you punya SRP. I think you still set for SRP. Tak perlu letak. The lowest that you put is your SPM. Okay? Tapi katakanlah kalau... Okay. Can I just check whether you have your slide on education that I'm showing now? Do you have it? Do you have the slide on education? Nurul Najwa, garing kepala. Tak ada Tak ada, okay. I cuma nampak Nurul Najwa and Nurul Nakia. So I can only check with you. Cik Kas, can you see the slide that I'm showing now? You can. Cik Kas can see. Najwa, can you see now? Okay, all right. Because I just got feedback from my team that, you are not able to see. Okay, so I'll just continue. So again, as I said, Encik Kas, you don't have to go down as low as SRP lah. We know that you were one of the best students in your school at that time. Okay, so only go as low as SPM. Kalau you ada sijil college community pun is okay. Letak sijil college community. Kalau you ada SPMV sijil vocational, you letaklah, right? There's no problem. Don't worry about it, and don't feel embarrassed or shy that you have certificates from there. What is important is not where you get your certificates from. What is important is we want to see what kind of person achieves that kind of result. That's what we want to know as a prospective employer. Okay, and then of course, sorry, I backtrack a bit. Your qualification, you must make sure that you know your qualification. Why do I say that, I get some degree holders, dia punya degree pun dia tulis salah, nama degree dia. That's inexcusable. It's your degree. You work like 4 years to get it. And for you to even get the name of your degree wrong is unforgivable, inexcusable. Another thing is the name of your institution. Alright, so you must know that your Politeknik is your Politeknik Muadzam Shah. Janganlah tukar nama Politeknik yang you pergi tu, ataupun Politeknik Sultanah Bahia. Eja Sultanah Bahia tu betul, jangan eja salah. And I know I have come across some candidates yang universiti dia pun dia eja salah tau. So don't, because to me it's like this lah. You work hard for 3 or 4 years to achieve your qualification. Lepas tu you eja you punya qualification salah, you eja you punya college salah. So what I'm thinking is this, kau pergi belajar main-main ke apa? Kan? Bak kata seorang pencetus motivasi kan. Ini belajar ke isi masa lapang? Macam tu. Kan? So we don't want you to be caught in the same band as that. Also, I pernah jumpa juga in the resume recently, someone applied for a job. SPM tu dia tulis sebagai Sijil Sekolah Menengah Malaysia. Come on guys, everyone knows SPM stands for Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia. It's inexcusable, it's unforgivable for you to write SPM as Sijil Sekolah Menengah Malaysia. Itu sebenarnya dosa besar yang boleh membawa ke api neraka kerjaya. Okay. So don't do that because you are demonstrating how stupid and lazy you are kalau you tulis macam tu. Pardon me for saying the word stupid. But yeah, it's stupid. Kan? Kau belajar 5 tahun nak dapat SPM, lepas tu dah dapat, lepas tu kau SPM pun kau tak tahu apa makna. Kan? Takkan kau belajar kat sekolah Rusia kot. So this is where employers like macam ni lah. Dia jadi marah macam coach. Right? And STPM is sijil tinggi pelajaran Malaysia. And yet I get people who write STPM as sijil sekolah menengah atas. Apa belajar ke Indonesia ke apa ke? Okay? So this is something yang you really need to pay attention there. Because as prospective employers, we do not tolerate this. There's no compromise. And the name of your university, college or school. Again, ada juga yang salah. Kalau you nak tulis you punya nama Politeknik Muadzam Shah, kalau lah you nak tulis dalam bahasa Inggeris, you check dengan Cik Kas dulu. Macam mana cara nak tulis Politeknik Muadzam Shah in bahasa Inggeris. But then again, you don't have to lah. Kan? Nasi lemak, you don't translate it as fat rice. Kan? Tuan Haji, you don't translate it as Sir Pilgrim. So these are all proper nouns atau dalam bahasa Malaysia kita kata nama khas. And you don't have to translate it. Okay? Okay, I'm keeping quiet because I hear some disturbance in line 1, link 1. Can you please make sure that you mute because I can hear the sound of the radio or whatever ringing tone that you have on, right? Okay, so the name of the university or college or school that you go to, you have to make sure that you get them right. And then your period of study, for how long did you study at that university, and your CGPA and SPM results. Have an issue with a lot of applicants where they don't write down their SPM results or CGPA. Then when I ask them why didn't you write your CGPA or SPM result, the common answer is that my results were not so good. Now let us decide. Let us as your prospective employers decide. Right? Now the thing is this. Let's say the job requires you to have a CGPA of at least 3.0. Does that mean that you with a CGPA of 2.75 cannot apply? If you don't apply, 100% it means you are not getting the job if you don't apply. If you apply, there is still a 50-50 chance that they may or they may not consider your application. So you decide. Do you want to be considered or not? In my years of that person, can you please mute your sound? Thank you very much. In my years altogether, I started working in 1991. In my years of recruiting people for jobs, ada je yang kita ambil orang yang qualification dia tak capai apa yang kita nak. Ada je. Right? Because we do make exceptions. Sometimes your CGPA does not meet the standard, but then we look at your achievements, they impress us. Achievements on the job. And sometimes your CGPA or SPM results are not great, but we see that you have got experience that we want. Don't worry about it. Even if you think that your qualification is not good enough for the job, you must not cancel yourself out. Okay? So just go ahead and apply. Go ahead and apply. Let me share with you a story about a friend of mine. She's slightly older than me. It's a lady. She's slightly older than me. So when I first met her, she was a Bahasa Malaysia teacher in a sekolah menengah in Batu Pahat. So she had been a teacher for close to 20 years. So she told me, doctor, by the way, she calls me doctor. I dah kata kat dia, I tak ada PhD, I bukan doktor perubatan. So I tak layak dipanggil doktor. Tapi dia kata, tak apa, tak apa, tak apa. I doakan supaya doktor dapat doktor yang betul satu hari nanti. You know? So anyway, she was a Bahasa Melayu. She was a Bahasa Melayu teacher at one of the sekolah menengah in Batu Pahat. So after a while, she told me, coach, doktor, saya dah penat lah jadi cikgu. Saya dah tak ada hati nak jadi cikgu. So saya kata kat dia, berhenti lah. So anyway, to cut a long story short, dia berhenti. Then the husband got a job opportunity in Australia, Melbourne. And she followed the husband. But then again, how long do you want to stay at home doing nothing? Children are still in Malaysia, so it was only her and the husband. So this friend of mine, Mami Pah, I call her. This Mami Pah, she applied for a job in Australia. So she posted lah dekat Facebook, dia punya interview tu semua tu. And finally, she got a job. And you know what? She managed to get a job as a teacher. Okay, tak apa. Dia memang berpengalaman jadi cikgu lebih dekat 20 tahun. The only thing is, she had been a teacher in Malaysia, mengajar subjek Bahasa Melayu. Tapi in Melbourne, she became a teacher teaching English to Australian kids. Right? So kalau ikutkan kelayakan lah, kalau you kata, I don't have the qualification, I don't have the experience. All her life she's been teaching Bahasa Malaysia, but she went to Australia and she actually managed to get a job as an English teacher. So the message is just go for it. Don't worry if you qualify or not qualify. Simply apply. Tak rugi pun 3 keping muka surat kertas tu yang you hantar. Dan stamp berapa sen tak sekarang, 30 sen, 40 sen. Or most of you will be applying through the email anyway, or job street anyway. Tapi nanti later coach akan bagi tips about applying through those channels. And then she got fed up teaching the Mat Saleh kids because they're all a rude bunch of people. So she resigned and she started taking a certificate. So she managed to get the certificate, and I think you will never guess what Mami Pa does now. Mami Pa is now the QA inspector for Australian railway system. And what Mami Pa does in her job is she inspects the quality of locomotive engine for Australian railway system. So there is an example of you applying for any position that you want and not worrying about your qualification. And what is important is that you can prove to your prospective employer that you can do it, right? But when you have your academic qualification, academic achievements, for example, in your college, in your poly, you probably achieved the, I don't know, do you call it Dean's Award? Maybe your Dean's List. Then put it under each qualification. Let's say you achieved the Dean's List for your diploma or whatnot, then put it under your qualification respectively. Or if you were the best student for a certain subject, put it under SPM, best student for this subject. So that will enable us to know the quality of the people that we are dealing with, right? So basically in education, when you write your education, then you write there Bachelor in Human Resource Management, contohlah National University of Malaya, right? Apa ni? National University of Malaya bukan Universiti Malaya. Ini adalah Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia, alright? So 2016, 2019, CGPA 3.5. Then maybe you can write Dean's List for semester 4 and 5. Okay? Now in your resume also, you may want to write your skills and language proficiency. Don't write time management skills. Don't write teamwork. Don't write uh, apa ni, don't write communication skills. Don't write those skills because those are soft skills. But you can write, for example, um, operating a certain machine. You can write Excel, um, PowerPoint, whatever it is. Those are the skills that you can write. And of course, language skills are acceptable. You can write Bahasa Malaysia, excellent, or English, intermediate. Boleh, tak ada masalah. But in your resume, don't use symbols. You know, sometimes I see people writing language, bahasa Malaysia, ada lima bintang. Lepas tu bahasa Inggeris dia letak 3 bintang. The symbols are distracting for us, your potential employers. Okay. Then in terms of your extracurricular activities. Now, be selective when you actually write your extracurricular activities. I had one candidate for the entire page of her A4 paper. She listed out all the extracurricular activities that she was involved in when she was at university. All together, I counted, there were 36 extracurricular activities. That's too many. So what you need to do is you need to only include those with leadership positions. Maybe you are the president, you are the YDP, maybe you are the secretary, maybe you're on the organizing committee. Tapi kalau setakat member Persatuan Catur, tak payahlah kot. Kan? Because we all pun pernah juga masuk those extracurricular activities. Setakat member, what do you do? Sometimes you don't even attend meetings. Okay? So focus on the positions. Why? The reason is because we want you to demonstrate to your prospective employer that you have what it takes to be in that position. You have the leadership ability. Okay, unless if the involvement lends weight to the position applied for. Sebagai contohnya, if you are only a member, but then maybe you helped organize a certain event involving participation of many parties. So, for example, for coach, you know, I was in the sports committee when I was at University of Nottingham. I was on the committee, but I was in charge of inviting all Malaysian university students from universities to participate in
Memang sangkut ke line aku yang teruk?
Can you hear me now? Can you see and hear me now? Okay, so
Yes.
okay, sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. I was using the tethering a function from my phone, and my phone ran out of battery. So now I'm using the hotel's Wi-Fi. So that's okay, right? So anyway, where was I? Yeah. So you can include the leadership position that you have. For example, for coach. So for coach, I organized a sports event. Can you see my slides? Nakia, can you see my slide? Can you nod if you see my slide? So you cannot. Oh, all right. I will reshare my slide. Sorry. Can you see it now? Can you see my slide now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Good. Thank you very much. All right. So I'll just continue. Yeah. Sorry about the disruption. So you include those with leadership positions unless you actually are actively participating in it, helping organize functions and events and all that. And you start with the most recent activities, and you confine it to only the university level, right? And avoid listing courses attended or volunteer work unless it is relevant to the position applied for, which contributes to your professional ability. Okay. Now, the other thing is this in terms of references. When you use, or we call it referee lah. So references, usually we will not request it until after the final in-person interview or near the end of the hiring process. However, we will still look forward to you putting your references or referees' names and positions in. It's important. Now, when you leave Polytechnic, maybe you can include your lecturers as your referees. However, once once you have once you have started a job and all that, you must slowly say goodbye to your lecturers lah, eh? Coach has received many applications, resumes where even though these people have worked in the companies for 3 to 5 years, they still put their lecturers as their referee. So when we call their lecturers and we ask, no, there's this person by the name of Azri, blah blah blah, and we just want to check on how he is when he was, your student. Tak boleh jawab sebab lecturer setahun jumpa berapa ramai student kan, so they cannot remember. Always use someone who can talk about how you work, the quality of your work, right? And avoid using references from college, university if possible. Okay. So, Coach, I'm going to show you a few examples. Now, this is Dana Levy Detrick. Okay, ini contoh daripada internet that Coach got. I just want to make sure that I maintain confidentiality of my current bootcamp participants. I don't want to show their resume. This is an example of a bad resume. Okay, bad resume. So for Dana Levy Detrick, the resume is bad because it's so cluttered. So cluttered. And then you see kat ujung ni, kat ujung, you can see my arrow. So it's all sengit-bengit, herot-berot, dan sebagainya. So when you want to write your resume, you make sure that you actually justify straight line. So you can see like the paragraph to be in like a straight line. You see, Dana doesn't even make an effort to have spacings, right? Tak keluar. Okay, hold on. Dah, nampak. Okay. So, can try again? Shamil, can you check? Can you see now? Okay. So, here is where, Dana does not make an effort to put spacing in between, right? Oh, by the way, a lot of people think that resume needs to be only one page. That's wrong, huh? When you Google on the net, obviously you can see a lot of articles, a lot of examples that say, you can have a resume which is only one page long. And then they show you like the example of, a certain CEO, his resume is one page, but then he can still get a job. Of course lah, he's a CEO kan, dia punya achievements semua orang dah tahu. Macam kita-kita ni siapa lah yang tahu kita punya achievement kan. So you gotta have 2 pages, and as you go along, as you improve in your career, then your resumes can be longer. And let's say, for example, if coach sekarang ni, in my position as a director, and when I apply for a position, maybe my resume should be about 5, 6 pages. Okay? All right. Next is this one. Nice kan? But it's a bad resume. It looks nice, but it's a bad resume. One is this, it's too brief. It's too brief. You can't, it's in French, so it's okay. So it's too brief. You don't know much about this person. One. And number two is the layout is too haru biru and caca merbau. But if you're applying for a creative position in a creative company, then you may still get called for an interview. Tapi kalau you apply kerja dekat government, dekat bank, sure you tak kena panggil punya, guaranteed. Because this is an over creative resume that that we don't want to take a second look at. Then you have this one. So bila dapat resume macam ni, kalau Encik Kas dapat resume macam ni, Encik Kas pun tak sure, mungkin student nak jemput kerja kahwin dia kot.
Yes.
Kan? And so this one berbunga-bunga and all that. That's not the kind of resume that we want to receive. And then you see here under computer skills, this guy just puts all the logos here. And as coach said earlier, we as the prospective employer in HR, we are about my age. About 40s, 50s, and some of these logos we are not even familiar with. Okay, so try and avoid having a resume like this. Now, this is one example of an acceptable resume. I say acceptable resume, because the layout is neat, because the structure is very clear, because the segments are very clear. The only thing is, if I can say something about this resume is, look at her email address. Hoti, Hoti_JenK@yahoo.com. Wow. So as a prospective HR employer, then as a prospective employer, when I look at this email address, immediately I jadi nakal tau. Sebab I tengok dia punya alamat tu Hoti, then I tengok muka dia. Tak seberapa pun. Nampak tak? Dia dah nakal. And Jennifer K is now promoting me to be biased and promoting to me to be judgmental, right? But otherwise, all the rest are okay. Career objective is okay. Full education is okay. Licensure examination, which is a professional examination, is okay. And then career experience, that's okay, right? Cumanya, ladies and gentlemen, when you write your resume, jangan letak nombor ICU, please. Nombor ICU adalah satu maklumat peribadi yang tak boleh diserahkan awal-awal. Don't worry, when you're called for an interview, they will ask you for your IC, you boleh isi borang tu. But not on your resume. Don't give your IC number on your resume. You don't need to write your gender on your resume. Contohnya macam Jan K, kan dia tak perlu letak that she's a female. Okay? Female, tak perlu letak. Tengok gambar pun dah tahu, okay lah, mungkin she's like some kind of a mix, I don't know lah, kan? Tapi kalau macam you all, kalau nama dah perempuan, right, kita tengok gambar pakai tudung, kita confirmkan aja lah that you all are perempuan. Okay? And also, you don't need to write your date of birth, place of birth, present age, married or not, nationality, ni semua buang masa you. So, only 3 things only you write. Your name, okay, your address, and then your contact number and email address. Alright, so you letak benda-benda tu. Okay, now this is another example of a resume that we would consider as acceptable. So kalau you tengok between Jan K and Peter Parker, Spider-Man pun apply kerja tau. Okay, so you tengok the resume of Jan K and Peter Parker, They are different, kan? So kalau you tengok Jen K punya macam ni gaya, and then Peter Parker punya macam ni gaya, they are different. But both are acceptable. For Peter Parker, so that's just address, home phone number and mobile number and email address. That's fine. And you tengok that Peter Parker is Peter underscore Parker. That's okay. So he's got his career objective, and then of course he has listed down his employment. Note something, for Peter Parker, he has written his responsibilities as well as his achievements. Okay, so you take a look at his achievements. He wrote, received excellent feedback from supervisors and colleagues regarding positive attitude and strong work ethics. And then handled customer inquiries with professionalism and sensitivity, and showed strong attention to detail and on all reports completed. So that's an example. And you have got his education, academic achievements, received distinctions for accounting systems and project management subjects, right? And debating captain at Raffles College. And then you can see his analytical skills. Okay, so this is basically Peter Parker. And then you have got Summer Hagi. Okay, and for Summer Hagi, of course, she is a she, definitely. Don't worry, I know how to differentiate between the he and the she. Okay, so Summer decides not to put her picture, but nevertheless, her resume is very presentable, is very neatly sequenced and neatly laid out. So this is where, we would consider Summer's resume as a good resume. Now, this is where when you prepare your resume, while coach has told you that in preparing your resume, you need to market yourself, but you need to be truthful lah. Remember recently the case of this boy who tweeted that, he got a placement at the aerospace, whatever it is, and he's acknowledged by NASA and all that. And then our prime minister congratulated him and all that. So which turned out to be a hoax. So we don't want our resume to be a hoax as well. So with all of these things that I've shared with you, I have finished sharing with you on cover letter and resume. So I hope that you all have learned a thing or two about writing cover letters as well as writing resumes, right? So I finished my session. I'm not sure with the 283 plus people on my screen and with 67 plus people on the other link. I'm not sure whether questions can be addressed or not, but I pass the floor to Encik Kas. So I'm using this opportunity to thank all of you for having given me the attention throughout the session. I've enjoyed sharing with all of you, and at the same time, I'm also confident that you have benefited a little or two from the sharing that I have. So thank you guys, and all the best, and enjoy the rest of the day that you have. So I'll pass the
Thank you.
floor, or rather the floor back
Thank you.
to Kas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Sir.
thank you so much.
Thank you, coach.
Sir.
Anyway,
Thank you, coach.
if you guys have any
Your
questions,
best.
Yes, sir.
you may write the question down in the chat section. Maybe we can answer around 2 to 3 questions which are major. Maybe the coach can also help answer the questions. Okay, you may write down the questions now if you want to. Okay, I give around 2 minutes for you guys, or 1 minute for you guys to write your question. Okay, and then coach will pick any 2 or 3 questions to answer.
Others. Okay, I got a question from one of the links. Tak ada. Tak ada. Tak ada. Huh? Okay. Apparently there's a question, but it's on another screen. So let me just take a look at that screen and see what the question is. Shamil, can you give me the question? Okay, so the question has disappeared apparently.
This one from Helmi. Should we actually include our photo in the resume?
Okay. Thank you. Helmi wants to know whether having a photo is compulsory in a resume. The answer to that question is no. Having a photo in your resume is not compulsory. And at the same time, if you want to put your photo, make sure, as I said earlier, make sure that the photo does not look like a photo where you're applying for a Umrah visa, okay? Where you stand straight and then you don't smile, or at least you know you're applying for a driver's license. The best way for you to take a photo is actually you stand a little bit slanted. I always imagine that this is 12 o'clock and this is 2 o'clock. So your body is always slanted at 2 o'clock. Your face looks at the camera. So your face looks at the camera and you give your best smile in the photo. So for coach, it will be something like this lah. Something like this. Show that you are confident, a positive person. So if you want to put your photo, make sure that your pose is correct. Be guided by my photo in the poster that Encik Kas had with you, right? And you know, if you don't put your photo, it's okay, right? So I hope I answer your question. Lagi kan? Dah tak sangkut lagi kan? Okay, next one is from Nur Aiman Hayati. Do we need to put the word email and then double dot, or do we just write our address? Okay, I'll try to understand that. I think if you want to list your email, you can put your email and colon. The double dot is called colon, yeah, Aiman. So yeah, you can write that email and then your colon and then your email address. So for example, for coach, I will write email colon Fairus, etc., etc., etc. So that's how I write it. Okay.
Okay, but do remember that Coach has also mentioned, make sure that your email address is proper, and if possible, use your real name. Do not use like the sample just now, hoti underscore dot jam. Do not use that.
Yeah.
Okay, so make sure that starting from today onwards, you create one email. And I just want to mention that do create a social media account if you wish, if you intend to, okay, and then use the real name in that social media account. Okay, for example, like if you want to create a Facebook, write the real name. Do not use Cahaya Kehidupan, Mencari Kebenaran. Do not use that. Okay, because nowadays sometimes employers tends to view applicants in their social media. Sometimes they take a look. Kadang-kadang diorang godek, diorang cari, diorang research. Okay, so you have to make sure that you do have one account. Kat situ bubuh lah benda-benda yang baik-baik, yang cantik-cantik, yang elok-elok. Jangan makin hamun dekat page dekat Facebook yang itu, dekat media sosial yang itu. Sometimes nowadays because employers pun ada yang ramai yang dah celik IT, yang dah ada social media account. So kadang-kadang they evaluate the possible applicants through the social media, right, Coach?
That's very true, Encik Kas, and that's what we do in our company. We always ask for people's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. And even if you don't give, we'll actually look for it. We will stalk your account because one is we want to see what kind of postings do you have, and number two is we want to see the choice of language that you use on your social media accounts. And number three is we want to see whether or not you complain a lot on your social media. You know, because if you do that, and especially for example lah, you complain banyak sangat assignment lah, you complain Encik Kas buat macam ni lah. So if you can do that to your polytechnic and your lecturer, our question as an employer is that what assurance do we have that you will not do that to us? Right.
Okay, okay. And one last thing before we end our workshop today, your writings. Okay, make sure that you start writing in full, especially no matter whether it is in Malay or English. Okay, dekat media sosial ke, dekat WhatsApp ke, make sure that you do practice writing in full, because this also will affect bila kadang-kadang kita terlupa, kita dah biasa sangat. Okay, when we are used to writing short forms, apa WeChat punya language kan, so we don't realize that we are actually using the same forms when we are applying. Okay, so make sure, pastikan bahasa, belajar gunakan bahasa yang penuh, yang sempurna, yang okay in both Malay and English. Jangan gunakan short form, jangan gunakan WeChat, aku, letu, apa semua tu kan. So do not use that. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope that you guys have gained a lot of knowledge from Coach Fairus. I do believe that there'll be more in the future. Okay, we'll try to arrange that because Coach Fairus is not only expert in resume and cover letter writing, but he is also an expert in training employees. Okay, so thank you, Coach, once again
very
for
much.
all the input and the sharing. Okay, yeah.
Encik Kas, before you end, I feel obliged to answer one more question that just came in.
Okay.
Norlida asked, is it mandatory for us to submit a resume in English? If it is a corporate organization, it is encouraged. I will not say it's compulsory, but you see the advertisements that they put. If they put advertisements in English, you write in English. It's not compulsory. However, if you write in English, it gives you a lot of bonus points in terms of you being considered. Sometimes we ask people to write essays. We give them choice whether to write in BM or English, and we always give extra points for people who make effort to write in English, even though campur-campur, rojak-rojak tak berapa sempurna. But what it does is it shows us effort, right? So that's very important. Sorry, Encik Kas, I'll pass back to you.
Okay. Thanks again, Coach. So I'll see you guys right
much.
after your semester break.
It's a pleasure.
Masuk balik dekat poli, masuklah balik ke poli ya. Kita orang pesara-pesara ni pun semua rindu dekat pelajar-pelajar. Okay. Alright. Here there is no electricity. Luckily, I have this. I can connect through my hotspot. Memang baru tadi around 11 tadi dekat Politeknik Muadzam Shah, electricity dah cut off. So nasib baik yang control this link memang dekat Coach. So tak affect apa-apa dekat sini. Okay, so thank you again. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you,
Thank you to all
Thank you very much.
participants. See you guys again.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Coach.
Waalaikumsalam. Waalaikumsalam. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
Coach.
very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you
very
for
much.
sharing. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.